Good morning. It's Sunday, May 30th, about 20 minutes after 7 in the morning, out here at the lake, doing a little fishing, relaxing. Came back from our week-long, no electronics, well, other than taking pictures and some videos and things, but no electronics, no internet. It was nice, relaxing, a lot of hiking. In 1 week we did a little over 17 miles of hiking, a couple days of fishing, had a lot of fun. Venison, pork, chicken, cooked over an open fire, smoked. Good eats. Oh, the big fish just jumped right there. Lost a few pounds, only 5. I was shocked. Came back and said, well, I'm off to a good start. Let me keep this hiking / walking thing going. And so I hiked another 15 miles, or walked another 15 miles, I should say. It wasn't hiking. And I gained back my weight. How could this be? Well, some things didn't exist with our ancestors that exist today. Electronic devices are one of them. They add to the chaos, the confusion of things. But you know what else didn't exist is this convenience of the availability of food all of the time. See, we've been programmed, just like computers are programmed and cell phones are programmed. We've been programmed to eat 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, with breakfast being the most important. But that is not how our ancestors viewed things. They ate when they were hungry. And as I've experienced, we're trying a new plan. You can push through that hunger and the hunger pains stop. They were hunter-gatherers, not gorgers, because of the availability of food and its time to eat. There's triggers, just like there's a trigger for, people say there's a trigger for smoking. Makes you want to light up a cigarette or have a drink. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. There's triggers for eating. Time triggers even. Location triggers. And so mankind has been programmed by these triggers to overeat and underexercise. The aspect of foraging. My daughter and son-in-law were on one of the hikes that we went on, 5.7 mile hike, and they brought up mycelium and mycelia. It's the fascinating world of interconnectivity, like a world wide web, but I did not coin this term. It's a wood wide web. It's the forest. The forest has a spirit, and it's interconnected. Now, it's not interconnected on a broad basis, so to speak, because it's based off of kin relation in the forest. I'll tag some articles and a video in the video description, but this kin aspect is the yew tree is in close proximity to the white birch tree. Now, while the white birch tree will gain some nutrients and some aid from this mycelia, the main purpose is for the yew tree to support other yew trees. And this is all underground in a root entangled web. And like mushrooms are the fruit of that web. So when you see mushrooms growing out in the wild, which my daughter and son-in-law are huge into foraging mushrooms, and so they taught me some lessons as we were on this hike. And when I got home, it had piqued my interest so much that I decided to do some of my own research. And these kin relations, these root systems that feed other trees and even other plants, it sends signals. Think of it like a fiber optic cable. It sends a signal. So if a certain tree in that kin family is being attacked, the other trees in the area can send nutrients or warnings. So deforestation to put up a solar panel field. Other trees in the surrounding area are going to be alerted, and there's going to try to be a repairing or recovering. The spirit of the woods, the spirit of the forest. That is what pagan is. See, I and my wife write books, and we teach how our gods and goddesses and our ancestors associated the spirit world with nature, with the heavens, the constellations and their movements. But locking yourself into electronic devices to learn more, to spread more knowledge, while losing the aspect of being out in nature, is self-defeating. This is why, if you live in a city, reading it in a book is nothing compared to seeing it in person. It's not the same experience. It's not the same involvement. To see a bird sitting on a branch in a picture is one thing. To watch that bird move, look, speak is entirely different. Which we had a red-shouldered hawk that would visit our campsite on a daily basis when we were there. Beautiful, beautiful hawk. On one of the hikes, my daughter and I saw early morning white-tailed deer. So this hunter-gathering and foraging, it was not an engorging that we have today, but a eat when you're hungry from the earth and from what's available. That food which they consumed was much more healthy than what people are consuming today. The connection to the spirit of the forest, the spirit of animals, the spirit of plant life, because the forest does indeed have a spirit that communicates with and among itself. You need to be there and have the knowledge. This is knowledge lost. My daughter and son-in-law filled me in on knowledge lost. And which leads to another conversation that my daughter and I had about epigenetics. Knowledge lost. Epigenetics in a nutshell is your DNA is read by the environment you're surrounded by and your diet and things like this. It doesn't change your DNA, but it modifies how your DNA is interpreted. And as I've said before, my wife and I grew up in the beautiful mountains of the north, the Holy Lands of the North. But now we're in the deep south, and there's no mountains. Things are a lot different. As I've said, with gardening, we bring in topsoil, and we're constantly fighting invasive bugs in our tomatoes and cucumbers, and things are much, much different. The heat is intense, burning our vegetables that we're planting. So your DNA gets read differently. So imagine, though, if this is where I was born, then my DNA would be read entirely different than the me being born and raised up in the mountains. And that has an effect on how we view things and what we pass down to our posterity. So it's interconnected. The foods we consume, the things we see and experience in life, that we then turn around and pass down to our posterity, is not what our northern pagan ancestors experienced in the extreme north. And this whole eating 3 meals a day is something that a hunter-gatherer would not do. This pigging out on processed foods, not something they would have done. Convenience, just for convenience sake. So I'm going to close out this video with a reference back to a video I made about everything has a cost. Everything has a cost. And when I hear politicians talk about green energy, solar panels, windmills, things like this, these politicians were raised in cities. They're looking at green energy as a financially lucrative arena to go into that's untapped. The lobbyists are going to give them money, and then in turn one hand will wash the other. But when they go in and they clear cut entire areas to put up these structures of so-called green energy, they are upsetting, they are destroying the connectivity of and the spirit of entire areas. This underground wood wide web is being destroyed. The animal life within those areas is being upset and destroyed, possibly even eliminated, because where do they go? Another area that's more confined that will then be destroyed as well. So these solar fields, I'll just use those. That's the video that I had made months ago. They go in there and they clear cut to an open field, and they put up big, ugly solar panels, and they say that's green, that's more in tune with nature. No, it's not. They just destroyed nature. They just destroyed the spirit, the life, the connectivity, the ecosystem. So they could say, well, they did something for global warming. A global warming that's existed for thousands and thousands of years, or global climate change on a cyclical basis. See, that's the disconnection. That's somebody who is involved in politics, probably raised around a big city. Nature to them is a convenience, something to be modified or altered or used in a greedy way. But it's not beneficial to us. Those solar panels don't provide us any nutrients from the fruits of the wood wide web. And What happens when those solar panels go bad? Just like EVs, electric vehicles. What happens with those batteries? Where do they go? Is the disposal process of them just as green, allegedly, as the existence of them in the first place? Everything has a cost. Anyways, this video is getting a lot longer than what I wanted it to be. I wanted to make a short video about mycelium, and epigenetics. I found them both fascinating. I'll put some links in the video description. And I'm going to go see if I can catch myself a fish. Not for breakfast, though. I'm reprogramming my body. 1 meal a day. That's it. That's all I need. I can push through the hunger. Make 1 meal a day. Anyway, until next time, I have a fish keeps jumping over here, right in these reeds. Or, tills nästa gång. Good health, so.